What's up YouTube, it's Cyberfelon, and today I have my Blue Eyes White Dragon deck profile for you guys. This is a very fun deck for me. I play this mostly on a casual level against friends. I really don't play this deck competitively. It's definitely a good deck in the competitive scene. You really just don't care about link monsters at all, and pretty much the deck can function with or without links, no problem whatsoever. But without further ado, let's get into the deck profile and show you guys how it's built. Alright, so to start things off, no Blue Eyes deck is complete or even usable without its namesake, and that is Blue Eyes White Dragon. You do play 3 copies of him because, I mean, it's Blue Eyes White Dragon. What do you expect? That's what the whole deck revolves around. Then you do play 3 copies of your Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. Alternative Dragon can easily be special summoned by revealing one of your Blue Eyes White Dragons from your hand. That's why you do run 3 copies of it. As well as Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon is able to destroy 1 monster on the field simply by giving up its attack for the turn. So most of the time when you use that effect, you're going to end up using him as some sort of material to bring out one of your extra deck monsters. Most of the time it's going to be an XC summon or a synchro summon. Sometimes you use him for a link summon, but not all the time. Other than that, he's mostly just a 3k beat stick, which is kind of hard for your opponent to get over, especially since most monsters nowadays are very low in attack. You do play 2 copies of your Dragon Spirit of White. He's mostly here for your back row removal. When he's normal or special summon, you can banish 1 spell or trap card your opponent controls, so that's really good at helping protect the rest of your plays, especially knocking off a opponent's Solemn Judgment, Strike, Warning, or even taking out important floodgates like maybe Anti-Spell Fragrance or something that's hindering you from playing your deck. He also has the ability that during either player's turn when your opponent controls a monster, you can tribute him to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand. So this is a great effect for dodging any sort of targeting effect that your opponent may be doing. Targeting him, you can easily dodge it using his effect. Also, he's treated as a normal monster while in your hand or your graveyard. That's an important effect, but not as important as the rest of his effects. That does come in handy though sometimes. Then, because you are playing your big dragons, you have to also play your tiny stones. White Stone of Ancients is a great card, allowing you to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon or a Blue Eyes monster from your deck during your end phase once it's sent to the graveyard, and this is not once per turn. So if you manage to discard 2 stones to the graveyard in the same turn, you can special summon 2 Blue Eyes from your deck. He also has the second effect of being able to banish itself from the graveyard to be able to add 1 Blue Eyes monster back from your grave to your hand. So this allows you to go ahead and continue your combo plays off, allows you to go ahead and get more resources, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean later in the deck profile. It's also a level 1 tuner, which is important to know. Then you do play the 1 copy of White Stone of Legend. This card, when it's sent to the graveyard, allows you to add 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to your hand. You only play 1 copy because you really don't want to see it too often, but it is a good discard fodder, allowing you to go ahead and add that Blue Eyes to your hand. Also, it is another level 1 tuner, which is again very important for this deck. Then the other card, your main playmaker of the deck, outside of alternative, is your 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. Sage with Eyes of Blue can do a lot of things for this deck, and it does it very well. When it's normal summoned, you can add 1 light level 1 tuner from your deck to your hand, pretty much all of your stones, as well as that you can use his effect from hand to target 1 face-up effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, and then special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon if it gets sent to the graveyard. So this is really good at bringing out your Blue Eyes White Dragons from your deck, preventing you from bricking, and yeah, pretty much that's the main reason he's here. He's also, like I said, a level 1 tuner, which is very good for the deck because it allows you to go for your synchro plays. Now you do also play 2 copies of the King of D. He's able to search out any of your spell or trap cards of your Fluid of Summoning Dragons, Melody of Awakening Dragons, or Dragon Revival Rhapsody from your deck by simply discarding 1 spell or trap card from your hand. This is really good because it does offer you the ability to search for your search cards as well as your revival cards. So pretty much he is the one card that you do want to normal summon most of the time, and it basically just allows you to get to cards that you really need access to. Makes it a lot easier. Then you do play for your last level 8, your 1 Amorphage Goliath. Pretty much if you manage to bring this guy on the field, you're locking your opponent out from their extra deck. Both players are locked out of their extra deck, but that doesn't really matter since you're going to have a lot of big beaters on the field, and most decks nowadays really rely on their extra deck in order to bring out some sort of a boss monster, and if you can't access your extra deck, you're more than likely going to win. Or, I mean, if your opponent can't access their extra deck, you're more than likely going to win. And he's able to be revived by many of your spell cards in your deck. So he's a very easy card to get out. You can also tribute summon him, but that's not something I recommend. Then you do play your 1 hand trap in Effect Veiler. He's a level 1 light tuner, so he is searchable off of stage. It's a very good card to have. Effect Veiler is very powerful in this format. It's definitely a great card to use, being able to just negate any monster effect during your opponent's main phase. Something very important to note that it's only usable during your opponent's turn and during their main phase. Other than that, Effect Veiler is just Effect Veiler. It's a level 1 tuner again. It also fills that role. And yeah, that's about all I have to say about that. Then the last card you do play is your 1 Glow Up Bulb. Again, another level 1 tuner. This one's Earth, so it's not searchable by Sage, but it is able to revive itself from the graveyard by sending the top card of your deck to the graveyard. Now this effect can only be used once per duel, but it's plenty good. It's plenty good enough because it's just able to revive itself and it's a tuner. Level 1 tuners are very powerful for this deck, and being a level 1 also allows you access to certain cards in your extra deck. Alright, now onto the spells and traps, and because Blue Eyes has a tendency of bricking a lot, because you have a lot of high level monsters, you do run your 3 copies of Trade-In. Trade-In is very good because you're able to discard your level 8s, which are pretty much dead in hand, in order to be able to draw 2 cards. You have plenty of ways of reviving your level 8s with all your spells and trap revival, all your revival spells that you have, so discarding one of your level 8s does not matter at all because you can easily just bring it back later in that turn if you draw into the right cards. And then for more draw power, you do play 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Now, the one thing you do have to be careful with Pot of Desires is that you could possibly banish all 3 of your Blue Eyes White Dragons. It is a very small chance that that will happen, but it could happen, and if you do that, you pretty much need to scoop, because the deck really does rely on having a regular Blue Eyes White Dragon somewhere either in hand or grave or somewhere. Being able to special summon alternative is a very important thing for the deck, so banishing all 3 copies is not good. For more draw power, you do run the 1 card of Consonance, being able to discard any of your level 1 dragon type tuners for its effect to draw 2 is very good. The main card you do want to discard is your White Stone. Yeah, your regular White Stone, not the Ancients, but you can discard Ancients because then you can get your special summon off of it. But I prefer discarding the other White Stone in order to get the Blue Eyes add off of that along with your draw power. It's very good to be able to just maintain your hand advantage, get more Blue Eyes to hand to be able to discard off a Trade-In and then revive with your revival spells. It's a very good card, definitely recommend running it at least at 1. Any more could potentially be a brick, because you don't always want to be discarding your stones, sometimes you want them for synchro plays. Then you do play your 3 copies of Melody of the Awakening Dragon. This card allows you to discard a card to add 2 dragon type monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense. So pretty much you discard this any card to be able to search out a Blue Eyes White Dragon and a Blue Eyes White Alternative Dragon, allowing you to just simply special summon your alternative for no cost at all. It's a very powerful card, definitely a great searcher for the deck. Allows you to search out really any of your Blue Eyes cards from your deck. So it's definitely a good card to have, definitely something you want to run at 3. You could cut it to 2, but I don't recommend that, but up to player preference. Then you do play 2 copies of your Dragon Shrine. Dragon Shrine is a good card, being able to discard one or dump one of your blue eyes from your deck to the graveyard, as well as being able to dump any of your other dragons as well if you discard a normal dragon type monster first. So definitely a good card to be able to dump your stones to be able to recover the blue eyes that you sent as well, or just any combination of cards really. Next card you do play is the one copy of 1-for-1, being able to discard a monster from your hand to special summon any level 1 monster from your deck. Allows you quick access to any of your stones for free, allowing you to pretty much just go off for your synchro plays or your link summons with really no cost at all, because most of the time, like I've said multiple times in the video, you do want to discard your blue eyes for some, just to unbreak your hand. Then you do play the one copy of Soul Charge. This is your first revival spell. Soul Charge is a very powerful card. If you can resolve Soul Charge after discarding so many of your blue eyes white dragons, you can easily win, because just resolving a Soul Charge in this deck is very potent, and you have so many cards that you can bring out that can easily just stop or stun your opponent. And it's just so good. I can't tell you how many times I've won off of a Soul Charge alone. Yeah, the only thing that sucks is that you can't attack the turn you use it, and you do have to pay the 1,000 life points for each monster you revive. But if you're playing on a casual level, that doesn't matter. On a competitive level, you do need to be careful because of the new end of match procedures. Life points do matter now. Then your next revival spell is 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. This card allows you to revive any level 7 or 8 dragon type monster from your graveyard, so you can easily revive any of your extra deck monsters as well, or even your regular blue eyes white dragon. Also, it has the ability to banish itself from the graveyard to protect all your dragons from destruction once. Definitely run it at 3. There's really no reason not to. It's one of the most important revival spells you have. Then your other revival spell is Dragon Revival Rhapsody. If you control a spellcaster type monster, Lord of D, you can easily just revive 2 dragon type monsters from your graveyard, including at least 1 normal monster, so your original Blue Eyes or your Dragon Spirit of White, because he is a normal while in the graveyard. And you have both of them on the field. Your opponent doesn't take any damage for the rest of the turn, but that's fine. As long as you can still attack, the damage doesn't matter as much. Then your last, but definitely not least, revival spell is your Monster Reborn. Being able to special summon any of your monsters from your extra deck, again, from the graveyard, or just steal any monster from your opponent's graveyard, is a very powerful thing. Bringing back a Crystal Wing, bringing back your Calamities, bringing back your Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, whatever you want, stealing your opponent's monster, it doesn't matter. Monster Reborn is a very powerful card. You could run Silver's Cry instead of Monster Reborn, but Silver's Cry only revives your normal monsters from your graveyard. So I recommend Monster Reborn over that any day, just because of its utility of being able to steal your opponent's monsters as well. Alright, so to start things off with the extra deck, you do play your 1 copy of Blue Eyes Twinburst Dragon. He is a very powerful beach stick to sit on. It's very easy to special summon by sending 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons you control to the graveyard. So the summoning condition is not that hard. You don't have to use polymerization or anything like that at all in order to special summon him. He's a very good beach stick simply for the fact that he's able to attack twice per turn. When he battles an opponent's monster, if it manages to survive somehow, it's going to instantly get banished at the end of that battle. So pretty much if your opponent has a problematic monster that you can't beat over, which is going to be very, very different because Blue Eyes can easily beat over almost anything since they have such big attack values. But if there's something that you can't get over, summon him, he can't be destroyed by battle, just banish it. It's very easy to get rid of cards with him. Then you do play your 2 copies of your Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Spirit Dragon is very powerful in the fact that neither player can special summon 2 or more monsters at a time. This definitely shuts down any strategy that swarms the field quickly. So Pendulums, get wrecked. ABCs, they can't summon they can't tag Buster out. It's very easy to just easily stop your opponent just by sitting on him. He also has the ability to negate any graveyard effect once per turn, so it's very good for any graveyard reliant decks. You can easily just shotgun down, as well as he's able to, during either player's turn, tribute himself to special summon any light dragon type monster from your extra deck. It is destroyed during the end phase, but there's a couple of cards that you will either just automatically synchro off again using Glow Up Bulb or any of your tuners, or they just automatically offer themselves protection, like your Azure's Silver Dragon, one of the main cards you are going to be going into, because when he's special summoned, until the end of your next turn, not the current turn, the next one, all of your dragon type monsters cannot be destroyed by card effects, and they cannot be targeted. So pretty much, you summon him off of his Blue-Eyed Spirit Dragon, he's going to protect himself as well as all of your other dragons. Also, during your standby phase, you're able to special summon one normal dragon type monster from your graveyard. So this is definitely a great card to sit on. Being able to revive all your blue eyes is very good, and then offering that protection till your next turn after he's summoned is also a very good thing. Then you do play your one copy of Cloud Castle. Cloud Castle, being able to, when you synchro summon, being able to revive one of your level 9 monsters from your graveyard is a very good effect. He also has the effect that level 8 or lower monsters can't attack the turn they're normal or special summon, but that's not really going to be resolved, because most of the time you're going to overlay him into True King of all Calamities with whatever level 9 you revived. Then you do play your one copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Mostly you're going to special synchro summon him off of your level 7 that you summon off of your Blue-Eyed Spirit Dragon. So you're able to go ahead and special summon that synchro monster, go off with one of your stones or your Glow Up Bulb, synchro again, bam, your Crystal Wing. Very powerful monster. Pretty much can win any battle against anything with a level, because he will gain the attack of that monster if it's level 5 or higher. And then, yeah, he'll win it. Other than that, he is also very powerful in the fact that he can negate any monster effect anywhere on the field once per turn, as well as gain the attack of that monster that he negated the effect of. So, hand traps, no. Grave effects, no. Just anything your opponent tries to do that's a monster effect, no. Just make sure you use it at the right time. Other than that, you do play your last synchro monster, which is your Black Rose Moonlight Dragon. When special summoned, you can easily bounce back any special summoned monster your opponent controls. This card's mostly going to get summoned off of your Blue-Eyed Spirit Dragon, and then you're going to end up using any of your tuners to synchro summon up into your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. This card is very powerful. Being able to bounce back any monster your opponent controls is a very good effect. It's non-targeting, or it is targeting, but it's non-destruction removal. So anything that can't be destroyed by card effects, this is your way around it. Now for your Xyz monsters, you do play your one copy of number 38, Titanic Galaxy. Being able to negate any spell card and then steal it as an Xyz material is pretty good, so you can easily stop your opponent from recovering cards like your Startup Engage, and then pretty much force them to try to draw into it again, or find some way to search out any of their powerful one-ups again, or their powerful spells again. And pretty much you can steal any of their powerful one-ups also. So Raigeki, you can easily use this to negate it. He also has the other effect of detaching an Xyz material to redirect an attack from one of your other monsters to him. So that's also pretty powerful. That can come in handy from time to time. It's not something you use too often. Mostly you want to use his spell negation, and that's the main reason he's here. Then you do play your number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. If you do have a Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon, that is definitely a card you want to play in place of him. Sadly, I don't have it, so I'm playing him. He's mostly here to link up, not link up, but to rank up into your Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon, which when he can be special summoned by using any of your rank 8 Galaxy Eyes monsters, mostly your Cypher Dragon, and then he can detach an Xyz material to destroy one monster on the field. Simple spot removal, simple effect, very powerful also. And then if he is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon your Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon back from your graveyard. That's one reason why I do recommend playing Cypher Dragon instead of number 107. Then your other Galaxy Eyes monster is number 95. You can easily use any Galaxy Eyes monster, Xyz monster you control to special summon him. So Cypher Dragon, again, one of the better cards than 107. You can easily use his effect to steal one of your opponent's Xyz monsters and then rank up into your number 95. Or you can just use your 107. Either way, it's still easy to bring him out. When he's summoned, you can easily send 3 of your dragon type monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard, allowing you to gain all the effects of your stones if you choose to do that. Or you can just revive any of your other dragon type monsters from the grave, and then you're going to force your opponent to banish 3 monsters with different names from their deck. So pretty much this is a great way to kind of gain your own effects and get them off, as well as stop your force your opponent to discard potentially good cards from their deck. Or banish good cards, not discarding. Yeah, that's the main reason he's here. He can also attack multiple times depending on how many dragon type monsters you send to the graveyard with his second effect, and it's very easy to go for a game with him because he is a 4000 beat stick. Then the last Xyz monster you do play is your true king of all calamities. Like I said, the main way you're going to bring him out is through your Cloud Castle and reviving one of your level 9s, mostly your Dragon Spirit of White, and then overlaying the 2 for him. If you manage to summon him first turn, that is a very powerful thing, and you will more than likely win because you're going to just blanket negate all of your opponent's monster effects, whether they're in the hand, field, or the graveyard. So as long as you know what your opponent is playing, you can easily just steal the game with calamities. Because dropping in calamities, calling whatever attribute your opponent has for their deck, and then just negating all their effects pretty much is going to stop them from doing anything for their turn. And then the following turn you can just easily OTK with all your Blue Eyes stuff. And that's one thing Blue Eyes is capable of doing very easily, and is OTKing. Then for the Link monsters, you only run 3 of them. You start off with your Hipstar, or as I like to call him, Hipstar. He's a very powerful card, especially in Blue Eyes. Only requiring 2 light monsters is very easy for this deck to churn out. You can easily just revive, or you can easily bring him out very easily. I said easily like so many times there. It's that easy to bring him out. He does offer the ability to boost all light monsters by 500 points, not that Blue Eyes needs the extra damage, but it is good making all your dragons 3500 beaters, as well as increase the attack of all dark monsters on the field by 400. Again, the power bonus is kind of irrelevant with just how powerful the deck already is naturally, but the main thing you do want to use him for is his ability to recycle any of your light monsters from your graveyard when he gets destroyed by battle or card effect. Then the other Link 2 you do play is your 1 copy of Underclock Taker. This card points to a Blue Eyes White Dragon. You can easily reduce any monster your opponent controls down to 0 attack. Being able to just swing with that monster after, or swing at that monster afterwards with the Blue Eyes is just guaranteed 3000 damage. This card is definitely good in the deck, definitely a great one of in the deck if you ask me, and it just allows you to swing for big damage and potentially OTK your opponent. Then the last but not least card you play is your Link Kuriboh. You have a lot of level 1s that you can easily use in order to special summon him. Glow Up Bob is another one of those cards that's very good because of this card. Being able to just send your Glow Up Bob and then revive it again later for a synchro play is very good, especially because Link Kuriboh is just so powerful. Being able to tribute itself during your opponent's attack declaration to reduce that monster's attack to 0 is very good, especially against in Blue Eyes, because then your opponent's monster is going to be 0 for the rest of the turn, and it's just, yeah, it stops them from beating over any of your cards. And then he's also able to revive himself by simply tributing off 1 level 1 monster and that you control. So again, any of your stones, any of your sages, any of your level 1 monsters, you can just tribute it off, send it to the grave, possibly get their effects off depending on what you're sending, and then bring it back Link Kuriboh. Frees up your extra monster zone. It's a very good card, definitely worth running in Blue Eyes. Well, that's it for today, YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to leave down in the comments below any suggestions you have on how to improve the deck. The deck, in my opinion, is still very powerful. It can compete with the current meta, in my opinion. I don't play it competitively. I do play it more on a casual level against friends. I believe I mentioned that already in the beginning, but it's definitely a good deck still. There are plenty of cards that I have in this deck that you could replace for hand traps like the Lord of D, Dragon Revival Rhapsody, Goliath. You could easily replace those cards for your Ash Blossoms, Drolls, Veiler, more Veilers, Ogres, whatever your favorite hand trap is, or whatever you can afford. You can easily replace cards like that for some hand traps if you want to make it into a competitive deck. But yeah, as always, remember again to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.